Good morning, everyone. So we just have 2 more weeks of this left, and then school will be out for the summer. And I pray really hard that we get to come back in August and go back to a normal school day and not have to do any more of this NTI work. But for this last couple of weeks, what I have decided to do is just to review factoring. So hopefully you still have your foldable as like with your steps on everything on factoring and some other examples. But this is a very important skill in college algebra and pre-college algebra. So whichever one that you are going to be in next year, this is an important skill for both classes, something you're expected to be able to do. So I thought, well, our last lessons here, we'll just review factoring, so that we'll be prepared for that when we go back in the fall. So today I'm just going to review examples and explain the steps for 2 of the methods, and that's GCF and grouping. So remember, GCF is greatest common factor. And so when you're factoring, remember that you're finding what expressions were multiplied together to give you the answer. So it's kind of like we're working backwards here and finding the problem, and the answer is the problem here. So let's go through our first example. Alright, so we've got to find the GCF of our numbers. Remember, that's what's the largest number that will divide evenly into all 3 of those. And we learned on the calculator that if that wasn't something that came to us quickly, how to put that in our calculator. And now we're using Desmos for the most part. So if I'm going to show you on Desmos how you can do that also. So let me pull this up. Alright, so what you're going to do is right here where it says functions, you want to bring up the keyboard, and where it says functions, you're going to go to miscellaneous and GCD. That was the same as the calculator. Greatest common divisor means the same thing, and we're going to put it in just like we did our calculator. So 24, 18, and that's 6, and then I'm going to put in 6 and 20. And that's 2. So the greatest common factor of all 3 of those would be 2. Now, then we have to find our greatest common factor of our variables, and it's whatever the smallest exponent is, because that's the most they could have in common. So the smallest x would be x squared, and the smallest y would be just y. Then we're factoring, so that's one factor. Then we have to figure out what was this multiplied by that would give us this answer. So we have to divide. So 24 divided by 2 is 12. Then when we look at our variables, we had 2 x's, we took them out, so there's none left. We had 3 y's, we took 1 out, so there's 2 left. Minus 18 divided by 2 is 9. We had 3 x's, we took 2 out, so there's 1 left. We had 1 y, we took it out, so there's no y's left. 20 divided by 2 is 10. We had 4 x's, we took 2 out, so there's 2 left. We had 4 y's, we took 1 out, so there's 3 left. And so this would be our answer. We're finding what was multiplied together to give us that. So let's look at another example. All right, here, so we have 6x squared plus 3x. And so the greatest common factor, hopefully you'll be able to figure that one out without the calculator, but if not, you can use it, would be 3. And then the smallest x would be x. So then we divide. 6 divided by 3 is 2. We had 2 x's, we took 1 out, so we have 1 left. 3 divided by 3 is 1. We had 1 x, we took it out, so we have nothing left there, and that would be our answer. All right, so here, 5, 7, and 9. Greatest common factor of 5, 7, and 9 is just 1. So you can write the 1, but you don't have to. So that's your choice. If you want to write a 1, you can. If not, you don't have to. I'll put it there just so we see that. And then x cubed, x to the 5th, and x to the 4th. X cubed is the smallest. So again, here you can have x cubed without the 1 or the 1x cubed. That's up to you. I know some of you like it and some of you don't. So then, if we're dividing, that's like 5 divided by 1, that's 5. And then we had 3, we took 3 x's out, so there's no x's left. 7 divided by 1 is 7. We had 5 x's, we took 3 out, so there's 2 left. 9 divided by 1 is 9. We had 4 x's, we took 3 out, so there's 1 left. So those are our answers. So that's factoring, finding out what was being multiplied together to give you this by GCF. Now we're going to look at grouping. Grouping we use when there are 4 terms. Alright, so with grouping, the first thing you do is group. So you group the first 2 and the last 2, and then you look for a GCF out of each one. So the GCF here, because that's like a 1, is just 1. And then out of x cubed and x squared is x squared. Then we divide it out. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. We had 3 x's. We took 2 out. We got 1 left. Minus 2 divided by 1 is 2. We had 2 x's. We took it out. There's none left. Then we bring down that plus sign. The GCF of 5 and 10 is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. We still have our x. Minus 10 divided by 5 is 2. These should be the exact same. If they're not, we've done something wrong. So then we write that, and you can write it as x minus 2 or 1x minus 2. It doesn't matter to me. And then what goes in the other set of parentheses was what was left here. So 1x squared or x squared plus 5. So let's look at another example. Alright, so again we group first 2 and last 2. My GCF here is 1x squared. You can write the 1, but you don't have to. 3 divided by 1 is 3. We had 3 x's. We took 2 out. So there's 1 left. Minus 2. We had 2 x's and we took them out. Then we bring down that minus, and our GCF is negative when we do that because we're bringing down the minus. So the GCF of 6 and 4 is 2. So when we divide, we're dividing by a negative number. So negative 6 divided by negative 2 is a positive 3. We still have our x. And positive 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. These parentheses are the same, so that's one factor of our answer. The other factor comes from what was on the outside, x squared minus 2. Let's look at one more example with grouping. So we group first 2 and last 2. GCF here is x squared. We had 3 x's. We took 2 out, so there's 1 left. Minus, we had 2. We took it out. What's left is a 1 because we're really doing x squared divided by itself, which is 1. Bring down the minus. GCF of 5 and 5 is 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. And we have our x. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is positive 1. Did I write this down wrong? I did. This should have been a plus, so that should be a minus 1 there. Alright, so then these are the same now. So we have x minus 1 as one factor, and this is the other factor, x squared minus 5. Alright, so for today's lesson, we're going to practice some factoring with GCF and factoring with grouping. I should have your tests graded and put in Infinite Campus today, and I'm working today to make sure I've got all your makeup work in. So by the end of the day today, I should have all your makeup work in. So you can let me know if I'm missing anything. So please try to get everything in. Most of it's just for participation. and I don't want to see anybody's grades bad because you're just not participating. Give me something there or send me a message if you're having trouble with anything. Have a good day. Bye.